Have you ever felt that strange sensation of knowing something beyond rational explanation? Those moments when you receive insights that seem to come from somewhere beyond your conscious mind. Perhaps you've experienced vivid dreams that felt more real than waking life, or synchronicities that defy logical explanation. You're not alone. Deep within the center of your brain lies a mysterious organ that ancient spiritual traditions have long recognized as the gateway between physical reality and higher dimensions of consciousness. Modern science calls it the pineal gland, while mystics throughout history have named it the third eye, the seat of the soul, or the connection point to divine realms. Today, we stand at the fascinating intersection where cutting-edge neuroscience begins to confirm what spiritual seekers have known for millennia. This tiny pine cone-shaped gland may indeed be the biological anchor for our spiritual experiences, the bridge between heaven and mind, between the material and spiritual dimensions of our existence. If you've been seeking to understand why your spiritual experiences feel so real, yet remain so elusive to explain, or if you've been wondering how to deepen your connection to higher consciousness, the answer may lie in understanding and activating this remarkable spiritual organ within you. The pineal gland represents one of the most intriguing convergence points between modern scientific discovery and ancient spiritual wisdom. Throughout human history, across vastly different cultures and traditions, references to a sacred center within the human head have persisted with remarkable consistency. In ancient Egypt, the Eye of Horus symbolism contains striking anatomical parallels to the pineal gland and surrounding brain structures. In India, yogic traditions speak of the Ajna chakra, or third eye, as the seat of intuition and spiritual insight. The Greek philosopher Descartes called the pineal the principal seat of the soul, where mind and body meet. These traditions didn't possess MRI machines or microscopes, yet somehow they identified this tiny gland, barely the size of a grain of rice, as having extraordinary spiritual significance. In the Gnostic traditions, specifically, we find references to what they called the divine spark within humans, a fragment of the true spiritual light trapped within material bodies. The awakening of this spark, allowing it to reconnect with its divine source, was the central aim of Gnostic spiritual practice. Today, we understand the pineal gland as a neuroendocrine organ that produces melatonin, regulates our sleep-wake cycles, and responds to light. But emerging research suggests its functions extend far beyond these basic biological roles. It may indeed serve as a biological antenna for consciousness itself, potentially producing compounds like DMT during mystical experiences, near-death experiences, and deep meditation states. This convergence of ancient wisdom and modern discovery isn't merely coincidental. It points to a profound truth that crosses the boundaries of time, culture, and even the supposed divide between science and spirituality. I'd like to pause for a moment and connect with you directly. I know the journey of spiritual awakening can be profoundly disorienting at times. Perhaps you've had experiences that others dismissed, insights that seemed to come from beyond yourself, or dreams that felt more real than waking life. You may have struggled to integrate these experiences with the everyday world around you. Have you felt the call of something greater within you, yet found the path to accessing it unclear? I invite you to share your experience in the comments below. What has your relationship been with your intuition or spiritual perception? Have you had moments of inexplicable knowing or connection? Or perhaps you're just beginning to explore this aspect of your consciousness. You might simply write, "I'm awakening to the reality of my spiritual perception and learning to trust the wisdom that comes through my inner knowing." Your comment might seem small, but it creates ripples of recognition and possibility for others on similar paths. Each shared experience helps validate the journey for someone else who may be feeling alone in their awakening. Now, let's continue our exploration of this remarkable spiritual gateway within us. The significance of the pineal gland in spiritual awakening is documented in some of our most precious ancient wisdom texts. In the Gnostic Gospel of Thomas, Jesus speaks of the singular eye through which light enters the body. "If your eye be single, your whole body will be filled with light." This striking parallel to the pineal's position as a singular, centered gland in the brain cannot be overlooked. In the Secret Book of John, another text from the Nag Hammadi Library, we find descriptions of the divine spark within humans that must be awakened, remarkably similar to how modern spiritual practitioners describe pineal activation. The Gospel of Philip mentions the bridal chamber, where spirit and body unite, a concept that echoes the pineal's position as intermediary between physical and spiritual realms. In the Gospel of Truth, we read about the awakening from spiritual sleep and ignorance, which parallels modern understanding of pineal calcification and reactivation. Ancient Hermetic texts refer to the eye of the mind, through which higher wisdom is perceived. Even in Revelation, the reference to the crown of life and having one's name written in the third eye of the forehead points to this same understanding. The frequency with which these ancient texts point to a central spiritual organ of perception suggests they were describing a consistent human experience rather than merely creating symbolic mythology. Perhaps most significantly, many Gnostic texts describe techniques for awakening this inner eye, practices involving specific breathing patterns, visualization, sound, and light exposure that modern pineal researchers would find strikingly familiar to methods now known to affect pineal function. The science of the pineal gland reveals a biological marvel that seems designed specifically to connect us with realms beyond ordinary perception. Let's explore how this remarkable organ actually functions as a bridge between different states of consciousness. The pineal gland's central location in the brain is no accident. Positioned at almost the exact geometric center of the cranium, it sits in what ancient traditions called the Cave of Brahma, or the Crystal Palace. This location allows it to receive information from the entire brain and body. Unlike most of your brain, the pineal gland is not protected by the blood-brain barrier, meaning it has direct access to blood flow and the compounds it carries. This unique characteristic allows it to respond to biochemical changes in your body immediately. Even more fascinating is the pineal's relationship with light. It contains photoreceptor cells similar to those in your retina, making it quite literally a third eye that can sense light. In most modern humans, this light sensitivity comes indirectly through the eyes and optic nerve, but the pineal itself contains the cellular machinery to directly respond to light. The pineal produces several important compounds, primarily melatonin, which regulates our sleep-wake cycles. But it also produces and contains the highest concentrations of serotonin in the brain, the neurotransmitter associated with feelings of well-being and transcendence. Most intriguing of all, research suggests the pineal may produce small amounts of DMT, dimethyltryptamine, often called the spirit molecule, a powerful psychedelic compound that produces profound mystical experiences. Some researchers theorize that natural DMT release during deep meditation, breath work, or at the time of death may explain many reported spiritual experiences. The pineal contains piezoelectric crystals that respond to various electromagnetic frequencies, potentially including the Earth's own geomagnetic field and even cosmic radiation. These crystals may act as receivers or transducers of subtle energy fields not yet fully understood by science. Unfortunately, in many modern humans, the pineal becomes calcified over time due to factors like fluoride exposure, certain medications, and artificial light pollution. This calcification may directly impact our ability to access higher states of consciousness naturally. The concept of the illusory nature of ordinary reality stands at the heart of both Gnostic teaching and our understanding of pineal function. Gnostic texts repeatedly emphasize that the world we perceive through our ordinary senses is not the true reality, but rather a kind of dream or shadow play. They teach that most humans live in a state of spiritual sleep, unaware of the greater reality beyond the material world. The Gnostics called this state helic consciousness, completely identified with the body and material concerns. Modern neuroscience has confirmed something similar. What we perceive as reality is actually a carefully constructed model created by our brains. We don't see the world as it truly is, but rather a neurologically filtered version that serves our evolutionary survival needs. Our sensory organs detect only a tiny fraction of available information. Our eyes perceive less than 1% of the electromagnetic spectrum. Our ears hear only a narrow range of sound frequencies. The pineal gland, when functioning optimally, appears to serve as an organ that can pierce through this limited perception. When activated, it seems to temporarily suspend the brain's reality filtering mechanisms, allowing consciousness to perceive beyond ordinary constraints. This is precisely why psychedelic compounds that mimic the pineal's natural biochemicals produce such profound alterations in perception, often described as seeing through the veil. The divine spark within each human, so central to Gnostic teaching, finds its biological corollary in the pineal. This tiny gland contains within it the potential for direct knowing, for experiencing unfiltered reality. The calcification of the pineal parallels what Gnostics called the imprisonment of the divine spark in matter and forgetting of our true nature. Conversely, pineal activation parallels the Gnostic concept of awakening. As consciousness breaks free from the constraints of ordinary perception and reconnects with its source. When we understand that what we call normal consciousness is actually a limited, filtered state rather than the fullness of what consciousness can experience, the importance of pineal health and activation becomes clear. It is quite literally the biological key to unlocking expanded perception. The awakening of the pineal gland as a spiritual practice has been described in various forms across many traditions. In modern terms, we might think of this as the reactivation of our natural capacity for direct spiritual perception. The methods for cultivating this awakening are surprisingly consistent across traditions and align with what we now understand about pineal function. Light exposure plays a crucial role in pineal health. Natural sunlight, particularly at dawn and dusk, helps regulate the pineal's rhythms. Spending time outdoors without sunglasses for brief periods allows the necessary light information to reach the pineal through the eyes. Conversely, reducing exposure to artificial blue light, especially after sunset, prevents disruption of the pineal's natural cycles. Specific breathing techniques have profound effects on pineal activation. Rhythmic breathing that alternates between nostrils, known as alternate nostril breathing in yoga, helps balance the hemispheres of the brain and stimulate pineal function. Breath retention techniques that temporarily increase carbon dioxide levels in the bloodstream may temporarily alter consciousness by affecting pineal biochemistry. Meditation practices that focus attention on the center of the head, particularly visualizing light in the pineal region, have been shown to increase blood flow to this area. The sensation of pressure or tingling at the brow point during meditation often indicates increased energy in the pineal region. Sound frequencies, particularly those used in mantra recitation and certain forms of music, create vibrations that may affect the piezoelectric properties of pineal crystals. Detoxification protocols to reduce calcification include adequate hydration, reducing fluoride exposure, which tends to accumulate in the pineal, and certain herbs like tamarind that may help remove calcium phosphate deposits. Physical practices such as specific yoga poses that increase blood flow to the brain, inversions that temporarily alter cerebral pressure, and certain movements of the eyes and neck that stimulate the pineal region through adjacent structures. Nutrition also plays a key role, with foods rich in tryptophan, the precursor to both serotonin and melatonin, supporting pineal function. These include seeds like pumpkin and sunflower, many nuts, and fermented foods. Dark chocolate contains compounds that inhibit calcification. Various adaptogens and herbs traditionally used for third eye activation include gotu kola, mugwort, and blue lotus. While these practices may sound esoteric, they can be integrated into daily life quite simply. Begin each day with 5 minutes of sun exposure, ideally within the first hour after waking. This helps set your pineal's natural rhythm and provides the light information it needs. Practice a simple alternate nostril breathing technique for just 3 minutes before meditation or prayer. This balances the brain hemispheres and enhances receptivity. When you meditate, experiment with bringing your awareness to the center of your head rather than always focusing on the breath. Visualize a soft indigo or violet light in this region, allowing it to expand naturally. End each day with a digital sunset, turning off screens at least an hour before bed or using blue light blocking technologies. This prevents disruption of your pineal's natural melatonin production. Create a conscious relationship with water, ensuring adequate hydration with filtered water to support detoxification processes. Consider keeping a dream journal to track how your dream life changes as you implement these practices. Increased dream recall and lucidity often accompany pineal activation. Incorporate small amounts of pineal-supporting foods into your daily diet, like a handful of pumpkin seeds or a small piece of dark chocolate. These simple practices, implemented consistently, can begin to reverse years of pineal suppression and reawaken your natural capacity for spiritual perception. The awakening of the pineal gland represents far more than just an interesting biological phenomenon. It symbolizes the reunification of science and spirituality, of ancient wisdom and modern discovery. It reminds us that the greatest mysteries of existence may be explored not only through external investigation, but through the conscious development of our own perceptual abilities. The divine spark that the Gnostics spoke of is not merely a poetic metaphor, but a living reality within each of us, biologically anchored in the remarkable pineal organ at the center of our brains. As you integrate the practices we've discussed, you may notice subtle shifts in your perception and awareness. Dreams may become more vivid and meaningful. Intuitive insights might arise with greater clarity. You may experience moments of profound connection to something larger than yourself. These experiences represent the gradual awakening of your natural spiritual perception, the birthright of every human being. The veil between worlds that once seemed impenetrable begins to thin as your pineal reclaims its rightful function as a bridge between dimensions of consciousness. Remember that this awakening is not about escaping the material world, but about perceiving its true nature more completely. It's about recognizing that consciousness itself is primary, not derivative, in the structure of reality. As your perception expands through pineal activation, you don't leave the world behind, but rather see it with new eyes, eyes that perceive the divine presence permeating all things. The spiritual blindness that has characterized so much of modern life begins to heal, as the eye becomes single and the body fills with light. If the exploration we've shared today resonates with your own spiritual journey, I invite you to continue this path with us. Our community of seekers is devoted to recovering ancient spiritual technologies and integrating them with modern understanding, creating a truly holistic approach to awakening. Subscribe to our channel for regular insights on spiritual neuroscience, Gnostic wisdom, and practical techniques for expanding consciousness. Each video builds upon previous explorations, creating a comprehensive path of awakening. If you found value in today's discussion, please share it with others who might benefit from this knowledge. The reawakening of humanity's spiritual perception happens one person at a time, each awakened individual becoming a catalyst for others. For those wanting to go deeper, visit our website where you'll find guided meditations specifically designed for pineal activation, detailed protocols for pineal detoxification, and our ebook, The Alchemy of Perception, which explores these concepts in greater depth. Remember that you are not alone on this journey. Thousands of others walk alongside you, each recovering their natural capacity for direct spiritual knowing. Together, we are remembering what humanity has long forgotten, rediscovering the extraordinary perceptual abilities that have always been our birthright. Until next time, may your inner eye awaken to the light of true knowing.